After an infinite regression, we arrived at an answer. The turtles all the way down.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're counting down our picks for the most challenging, obnoxious, or relentless enemies within the Final Fantasy franchise. We're omitting canonical boss fights from this list and focusing solely on regular enemies or secret, hidden, optional boss enemies.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Iron Giant, Final Fantasy 15. There are things that go bump in the night, and then there are the Iron Giants. These enemies often break up your party's progress during the overnight hours, and prove to be a pest every time they show up in Final Fantasy 15. Their physical attacks can do heavy damage, and Iron Giants also utilize a gravity-based attack that draw party members within their striking distance. The strategy to employ when facing off against an Iron Giant is defense, with blocking and dodging being particularly key. Poison attacks also work against these foes, but be careful to avoid the Iron Giant's sword strikes, which can easily cut a swath across your party. Ocha, Various. There is a wealth of lore behind the Final Fantasy franchise, including a number of enemy types that tend to appear time and time again. The Ocha should be a familiar face for anyone who's played a Final Fantasy game, since they've been a near constant presence since the very first game. These carnivorous plant monsters are notorious for their debilitating status effects they can inflict upon any or all of your party members. Lightning and fire-based magic is often a good offensive maneuver against the Ocha, as is protective magic to aid against their stat attacks. The OG Ocha from Final Fantasy 1987 may not be the toughest random encounters, but these horrific beasts just become tougher and more annoying with age. Warmech, Final Fantasy. The Warmech may be considered to be the Final Fantasy franchise's first super boss, but we feel that the rarity with which it's encountered lends it more towards a random encounter. That's because there's only a 1 in 64 chance for the Warriors of Light to run into Warmech while they're crossing the Flying Fortress Bridge en route to Tiamat. If one does encounter the Warmech, however, watch out. The battle is one of the most infamously challenging in a game that's already known far and wide for its difficulty. Warmech often strikes first and asks questions later, decimating the party with either physical damage or a nuke attack that can spell certain death in an instant. Don't say we didn't warn you. In Tanger, Final Fantasy VI. A battle with Tanger in Final Fantasy VI is only accessible once you've acquired an airship. Additionally, it's also only recommended if you're a glutton for punishment, simply because there are so many things working against you during this fight. For starters, Tanger needs to be woken from an invisible slumber in order to start the fight. Then he'll cast Meteor on your party, instantly ruining your day. Players also need to act quickly, because Tanger will run away if you take too long. It is possible to exploit some bugs within older versions of Final Fantasy VI for an easier time, although Tanger will always leave you with a parting Meteor attack as a going away gift. Araman, Various. Araman made his official debut as a boss in 1990 with the Japanese release of Final Fantasy III. However, he's since gone on to appear in nearly every iteration of the franchise since that point, all while retaining an extremely high level of difficulty. Their name is taken from Middle Parisian history and myth, where it serves as an embodiment of the devil. It's a fitting moniker for sure, since Araman are quite fond of casting instant death spells on the party such as Petrify and Doom. Their physical appearance is always that of a grotesque flying eyeball, and their genus includes other Araman subspecies like the Floating Eye and the Blood Eye. Behemoth, Various. Behemoth is another monster from the Final Fantasy bestiary that started out life as a boss, but has since gained a reputation for its recurring appearances within the franchise. Their appearance has changed somewhat over the years, but generally retain their bipedal canine appearance first seen back in Final Fantasy II. They're dangerous magic users, frequently casting Flare and Maelstrom upon the party for huge damage. Moreover, Behemoth also employs the Meteor spell in their arsenal, often busting it out at the most frustrating of times. Adamantoise. Various.
This time.
The high defensive properties and the resilient shell of an Adamantoise make it a difficult fight in any Final Fantasy game. It's usually worth the risk, however, since fighting these beasts often leads to a post-match drop of a valuable item or material. That said, don't expect fighting an Adamantoise to be easy, since this creature has been both a boss and random enemy during its history in the Final Fantasy franchise. Magic is your friend here, since physical attacks will often find themselves fighting a losing battle. What's worse is how many Adamantoise are frequent healers, making encounters feel twice as long and endlessly challenging.
We actually did it!
Cactaur. Various. We probably only need to quote one phrase when it comes to the Cactaur. 2 words that will make any Final Fantasy stalwart shudder with fear. 1,000 needles. It's become the hallmark attack of this otherwise innocuous looking creature. But don't let the Cactaur's appearance deceive you, because 1,000 needles does just that, delivering 1,000 points of damage regardless of your party's defense. It's one of the most annoying and needling, pardon the pun, sticking points, that pun too, when fighting the Cactaur. Well, that, and the fact that this thing is so damn hard to hit. Cactaur usually drop good loot though, so it's worth your while in stepping up and trying your luck. Tonberry. Various. Newcomers to the Final Fantasy universe might be wondering what's all the hubbub behind this otherwise adorable looking enemy. Those people, however, would also be surprised to find out how difficult it is to kill a Tonberry. This is thanks largely to their idiosyncratic attack and defense maneuvers. Their chef's knife attack can instantly kill a party member, or at the very least do a significant amount of damage. Tonberries also have high HP, and retaliate when attacked with Karma. This deals a backlash of damage to the attacking party member, equivalent to the amount of enemies they've defeated. There's just no way around it. Tonberries are tough. Marbor. Various. If you thought that fighting against the Ocha's status ailment attacks were rough, then get ready for your worst nightmare. The Marbor is another demonic plant monster with a penchant for making your party members sick to their stomachs. We're talking specifically about the Bad Breath attack, which can instantly debilitate even the most prepared of players. Bad Breath doesn't so much hurt physically as it does knock out the party with nearly every negative status effect in the book. Poison, sleep, confuse, silence, and more will all be afflicted, and the parties will have to react quickly to survive. The only upside is that some Marbor will only be able to use this attack 3 times. Although, if you're asking us, that's 3 times too many. Which Final Fantasy enemies gave you the most trouble? Let us know down in the comments.